Hey there guys, it's Brad here from Hammer Survival. Thanks again for joining us. Today we've got the RSX7 Slingshot Crossbow. For those of you who'd like to order, please head on over to Hammer Survival. There's a link in the description. So for those of you who've already purchased this and you're looking at a lot of screws and bolts, hopefully this installation guide will help you guys out with setup. So we're going to go ahead with the hardest piece of the installation, which is the trigger component. Once you've got this piece set up, the rest of it should be pretty much plain sailing. So there's a lot of springs and bolts and everything going on here. Let's move this to the side. The two you're going to focus on are the two longest silver bolts. And then we've also got the two trigger components here, which is the the firing pin and the trigger piece here. So the longer of the springs goes on the trigger piece, and then the shorter of the springs goes onto this this trigger release gear type cog. So the way this is going to sit is that there's three screws here in sort of like a triangle formation. 1, 2, 3. The screw's going to go up through here. It's going to go through the barrel, into the lever, back out through the barrel again. So it's a little bit fiddly to put through, but the final position should look something like this. So the large cog will be here, with the smaller of the springs, and then the firing pin or the lever will sit like this, hooked onto the same latch here, and it'll look something like this. So let me go and take a quick photo for you guys so you can see what's going on. I'll do a real close-up shot. Give me a second. Okay, so what I've gone ahead and done is cheated by putting this into position first, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what's going on. You see how the little sort of tooth is sticking out? So this is in the right position now. Sorry about the focusing, I'll zoom back out. And now I'm going to slide on the barrel to the handle. So let's try and keep this in position. It's nicely lined up. Put the screw through here. That went through nicely. Now we can attach the spring to here. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So I'm going to zoom right in so you can see what's going on. Hopefully it'll stay in focus. So you can see right here that I've got the gear lever piece set up correctly. Now I just need to add the firing pin. Take out this screen. Hopefully that's still in focus so you can see what's going on. Now we can attach the spring. Okay guys, so this part is now set up. The firing pin is nicely loaded up. We're going to attach the other half of the handle, like so. That looks good. Grab two of the small nuts. Put that in like so. Or might be a smarter idea to do one at a time. So let me flip it over. Screw this in. Hey there guys, so the trigger and handle piece here are now nicely set up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 more screws to add on here. I'll get those done in a second. I want to make sure that the firing mechanism is working correctly. So next up we've got the bands. So I've already fed this through, and the way that these are set up is that obviously the steel cables there, and at each side there's 2 sets of rubber bands with 4 ends. It may be that when you receive your box that these aren't assembled, so just go ahead and feed them through the cable. Use the little rubber band to make sure that they're set up on the end, and then it should look something like this. There's 2 sides and there's 8 sets of bands. So I'll move this out the way for the time being. In terms of the attaching the rest of the parts of the barrel, let's go ahead and do that. So we've got these end pieces here. In terms of how they look, they attach to, where do they attach? Oh, actually they attach to this piece here. So rather than disassemble everything, let's just show you this component. So I've attached the handle here, and the idea is that this will actually move up and down the frame. So rather than disassemble all the bolts and all of the parts, hopefully you can see what's going on here. So the only thing to really mention is that these washers, there's 2 washers on each side. So and the reason is that if you only use the one washer, this becomes fixed to the barrel and then it will no longer move up and down. So for these 4 bolts, use 2 sets of washers. This is pretty easy to put together. It's just 3 screws. Again, don't over tighten anything. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attach these pieces here. Again, use 4 washers, which will prevent the this handle piece from sticking in place to the actual frame. Hey there guys, so I've finished assembling this component here. I'll do a quick close-up so you can see what's going on. As I mentioned, there's 2 washers on each set of the bolts here. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these parts here as well. Put into focus. So each of these has 4 washers, so that when I assemble this onto the frame, which just slides on like so, you can see that this part is able to move freely and will actually lock into position at the top, and that's what this trigger piece is here. So once again, I'll slide it out, and now that's locked into place. So in order to assemble the bands, let's collapse it back again here. What I've found is that if you line up the cables on the back part first, and then we're going to feed them through. And then let's face it away from me for now. So these are going to feed all the way around. So what I'm going to do is, I'll do it this way so you can actually see what's going on. I'm going to take one of the bands and feed it all the way around and put this into position, just the one, and then repeat for the other side. So just pick one of the bands. Let's go for this one here. Again, feed it all the way around. And then put that into position here. Oh, it goes on the outside, right? There you go. Okay, so that's one band done. Now you can see hopefully it's starting to take shape. Interestingly, now that we've added one band and there's tension in the system, you can see that the trigger is now set up. So if I let's zoom in a little bit, you can see what's going on. Let's focus that. So you can see here the firing mechanism is nicely lined up. So actually, if I was to draw this out now, let's pull back out. Okay, so see how that is now creating tension. So if I was to kind of test fire this from here, there you go. It's now working nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and load up the rest of the bands. Hey there guys, so at this point I've pretty much finished all of the setup. I've finished all of the bolts and nuts that were missing from the handle here, and at this point it's ready to go in sort of semi-automatic mode. The idea is you can just load up all of the 8mm ball bearings into the barrel here, and then as you fire them out you can just cock the gun and it'll reload the next round. So I'll fire a quick test shot for you guys while I'm here. Got a quick 8mm ball bearing. I'll just drop that into the chamber. My trusty Sprite can here. I'm not going to shoot at full power just because I'm indoors and I don't really fancy breaking any windows, but 3, 2, 1. Well, that's great. You can see right there that it, you know, even at that short range, I blew through the Sprite can and broke a bowl in the process, so that's great. Hey there guys, so as I was saying, even with that, you know, 5% power of short range, it blew right through the Sprite can here, came out the other side. So that's pretty much it for today. We'll take this baby outside at some point to get some more outdoor shots for you. If you'd like to order, head on over to hammersurvival.com. Any questions, email them over to Brad at Hammer Survival and I'll get right on it. Cheers guys, until next time.